I love mornings, sipping tea, watching the sunrise, and of course breakfast. But why only have breakfast food in the morning? Today we're making breakfast for dinner and I'm making huevos rancheros. I'm Chef Heidi Fink and that's what we're cooking on the coast. It's hard to find the time to make a good breakfast for breakfast, so we're gonna be making breakfast for dinner. We're making one of my family's favorites, huevos rancheros. It has a bunch of different components, so let's get started on this fiesta of flavors. We have to make some refried beans. Now you can definitely just use purchased refried beans. That's totally fine, but I'm gonna show you how to make your own homemade beans with some canned beans. Now when I make this for myself, I often will cook the beans from scratch, but it's totally possible to do these with canned beans. So I've got 1 can of black beans that has been drained and rinsed. I have half of an onion that I've cut very small, and then a couple cloves of garlic cut small with a little bit of cumin and a little bit of chili powder. So let's get this going with some oil. So I'm gonna start by sauteing the aromatics, so the onion first, and then we're gonna do our aromatics. Okay, onion. So I've got this on medium-high heat. So I always like to do the onion before I do garlic and spices because the onion always takes a bit longer to cook. So I've got this can of beans. I'm gonna puree it in a food processor. You can also just mash this. I'm gonna reserve some of the beans to leave whole. I like that textural contrast. And now it's too much. Make up your mind, Pan. Okay, so let's put this in here. I'm gonna reserve approximately half a cup. Eyeball it. And we'll puree the rest. And sometimes it's good to add just a little bit of water to help it, because that water will cook off in the pan. You don't want it to be too dry to start with. If you were making beans from scratch, I always include a little bit of the bean cooking water. All right, that looks great. So this is just gonna be a couple of minutes while we get these nicely softened and even starting to turn a little bit in color before we add our spices. So I'm just gonna set all this aside for right now, and I'm gonna talk about a couple of the other components. So huevos rancheros just means home-style eggs. It's however you like to make them in your house. It's fried eggs or poached eggs that you put on corn tortillas, and then it usually has a variety of accompaniments like different salsas, guacamole, green salsa, refried beans. So I'm gonna make a couple different salsas because it is traditional often to have like a cooked red salsa as well as a fresh salsa. But again, you can just make this how you want. So I'm gonna do the cooked salsa right now. I have this dried chili. It is called a New Mexico chili. It is what happens to Anaheim chilies when they dry. So these are very mild chili with a really nice sweet flavor, and they make a really delicious smooth red table salsa. So what you do when you use chilies like this is you take the stem off and then you break them open and you get rid of all of the seeds, it always makes me laugh when they jump out like little jumping beans. Then you're gonna break that chili into small pieces and then you're gonna cover it with boiling water. I have got 2 chilies here with about 1/3 of a cup of boiling water. It's been sitting for about half an hour. So that allows it to get pureed. So this cast iron pan, I learned this trick from Chef Israel Alvarez last year. You might remember from our episode on making Canadian versus Mexican tacos. So he said if you're gonna char ingredients for salsa, which is a very common technique in Mexico, to line the pan with foil ahead of time. And that way it stays clean. So you're gonna crank the heat on this pan and then you're gonna put 2 whole Roma tomatoes. You wanna do Roma tomatoes because they're not so juicy. Then you're gonna take 1/4 of just a yellow cooking onion. You're gonna cut that in half. You're gonna put it in here in 4 pieces. And then you're gonna take 3 cloves of garlic, put that in there as well. So you're gonna char and blacken this whole thing. It's probably gonna take about 20 minutes. So of course I already have some done. Look at that. It's like que milagro here. So that's just to make our lives easier, to make things go quicker. This is what you want it to look like. So there's blackened, charred pieces. The garlic is kind of blackened on the outside, the tomatoes charred. So this gives a really nice flavor and it's gonna be easy to puree because it's not raw. So before I finish with this salsa, let's go back to the beans. So here we have our onions over here. Look at that, smells so good. Okay, so I've got my garlic and like I said, a little bit of chili powder and a little bit of cumin. You don't have to add the spices. Usually beans for refried beans are just very mildly spiced. Sometimes you could put jalapeno or something in here if you want. So you just want to add that till it's fragrant, and then we're going to take our beans. We're going to pour them right in there. So it's going to seem a little runny at first, but it will thicken up, and I'm going to add those whole beans as well. So if you wanted to make this with dried beans, which is honestly so delicious because you can also flavor the dried beans as they're cooking. You know, you could put pieces of garlic and cilantro stems and a little bit of spices. I would start with a cup of dried beans, and you end up with about 2 1/4 to 2 1/2 cups of cooked, I meant. Okay, we're gonna put the whole beans in there as well. Mix that together. I might add a bit of salt to this, but canned beans are usually already salted. All right, now let's make our salsa. This is why you don't have time to make this for breakfast, because there's too much going on. Unless you had all the salsas ready, then that would be like an amazing meal on the run. So we're gonna take this is all cooled already because it's been sitting for a while, so I'm gonna pop the pieces of blackened onion in here. Okay, and then the tomato. You want all the skins from the tomato. You're just gonna cut it into just slightly smaller pieces, just so that it's easier to blend up. And then the garlic, you have to make sure to peel the garlic because obviously you don't want to put the garlic skins in there. So just peel it like you normally would, except it's going to be a hell of a lot easier because it's almost like it's roasted, you know. So all 3 cloves of garlic, and then, let me just get them in here. Okay. So I've got my garlic in there, my tomatoes, my onions. Now I'm going to add my chilies along with all of the soaking liquid. So remember that was 2 of the New Mexico chilies with about 1/3 cup of water. Then we need about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we can always add more later. Before I puree that, I'm just going to check on my beans. They're starting to stick. It was a really good thing I checked on them. Okay. Okay, let's get this pureed. Right. Okay, I'm gonna just dump this in the sink. You don't wanna keep any, if you have stuff that clings to the blades, don't keep it. Kind of ruins the texture of the salsa. Okay, now I'm gonna get another frying pan out. Now you can definitely use the salsa like this, but it's traditional to cook it again in a little tiny bit of oil, just to intensify the flavors and make it a bit thicker. But this is a typical red table salsa, so like a smooth, kind of chili heavy salsa. It's different than a raw salsa. It's really good. So just a little bit of oil. And you can make this up to a week ahead of time. It also freezes really well. And the cooking just, like I said, just intensifies the flavor. Look at how beautiful that is. I love the color, whether it's cooked or not cooked. It just has this beautiful, rich red color from the tomatoes and the chilies. Oh, it smells so good. Everything in here smells good. I'm excited for huevos rancheros. So we're just gonna let these things cook. When we come back, we're gonna finish this off with a fresh salsa, with our eggs, with our tortillas. But next, we're on the road.
Cooking on the Road is brought to you by Whisk Victoria, the small but mighty kitchen gadget store for every home chef.
I'm thrilled to be here at My-Chosen Café, which is an institution on Southern Vancouver Island. It's a family-friendly restaurant that's been here for almost 40 years. And I'm here to talk to Jay all about it. Thanks so much for having me.
Happy to. Thanks for coming by.
So tell me a little bit about what makes this different and special.
The institution part, I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
About 40 years, but it's such a diverse, all-in-one place.
Yeah.
Pizza restaurant, cafe, sugar shack, baked goods, family-style restaurant that is that old-time feel where you're feeling like you are in your own home.
Or at grandma's, maybe.
Or at grandma's, yeah. The best meals at grandma's.
Yeah, the best meals, the big portions.
Yes.
The stick to your ribs feel of the food.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
exactly it.
And then also we've got some goats, it looks like.
Yes, we have some goats, some chickens, some donkeys, and it's our critter corner.
Corner.
Yeah, grab your pizza, sit on the benches, grab a coffee, and hang out with the animals.
Oh, I love it.
Sugar Shack is a bit of an all-in-one. So it's a retail shop, some amazing local creators, designers, and then our baked goods all come out of there. They all are done in-house.
Okay.
Our pizza shop dough is made fresh daily. Extremely busy.
Yeah.
I would like to say the best pizza far and wide in the area.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think a lot of people would resonate with that.
I have actually purchased many pizzas here for my kids' birthday parties in this area.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah.
And then next up is the cafe, the My-Chosen Café, sort of where it all began.
Yeah.
Family style restaurant, large portions, feel good, may have to take a nap afterwards.
That's the best kind of food.
Anything that you're craving today in particular?
Well, I did notice that you have the breakfast, the long, almost all day breakfast.
Yes.
And I do like having breakfast for, lunch or dinner, so.
I know somebody, we might be able to make that happen.
Okay.
Wanna give it a shot?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. That'd be great. This looks amazing.
I wasn't lying about the portion size.
No, this is incredible. I have so many options too. Look at these eggs, are perfect.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, and yours looks really good. That's a steak?
Yeah, steak 7 ounce, couple sunny side up eggs, shredded hash browns.
Okay.
No complaints on my part.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Okay, let's dig in. Let's have some of this egg. Look at that perfectly, look at that runny yolk, it's perfect.
Yeah, steak is perfectly
Yeah,
done.
that looks
Not
beautiful.
surprised.
It's really good.
Yeah, you never leave here disappointed with the
No.
portion size.
Or the quality of the food is really good.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Chef's been doing it for 37 years.
Yeah.
He's amazing
You
at what
can
he
tell,
does.
like he's a magician in the kitchen. Oh, this is so great. Just what I was in the mood for. Breakfast for lunch.
And it's not just breakfast. Phenomenal burgers. We actually use Berryman Brothers
Yeah, you use some local
for our
meat,
burgers. We do a beef dip that's really popular. Surprising enough,
Yeah.
our liver and onions is actually really
Yeah.
popular.
Really? I believe it. Probably it's one of the only places you can get it.
It is definitely one of the few, that's for sure.
Yeah. Just such classic food.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it seems like there's something for everyone here.
There is.
Thank you so much. This has been great.
Thank you for featuring us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
You guys gotta check it out. My-Chosen Café in My-Chosen. Welcome back to the kitchen. We are making breakfast for dinner, specifically huevos rancheros, which is one of my favorite breakfast for dinner items. We have already got a couple things going on. We've got our homemade refried beans over here, so I'm just gonna test them to see if they need some salt. They've been cooking for about 20 minutes, so they've thickened up nicely. And let's just see. They taste really good, but they need a pinch of salt. I'd say probably like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You don't wanna do too much. We'll stir that in, and we'll just keep this on really low heat while we make the rest of this. So in the previous segment, we made this delicious red table salsa with some charred tomatoes, charred onions and garlic, and some soaked New Mexico chilies. And now we're gonna make a fresh pico de gallo. Like I said before, you can make whatever type of salsa you want. You can use store-bought salsa. So I have got about 2 to 3 cups of diced tomatoes. I didn't seed them. You want the juice in there. Now this is important. You want to splurge on very ripe, vine-ripened tomatoes. You splurge on those expensive tomatoes, you know? Okay, now we're going to add about 1/2 cup of diced onion. And you could do more or less than this if you want. You could also do red onion if you want. Okay, so I've got 2 fresh green chilies. These are actually serrano chilies, but you could use jalapenos. I removed the seeds because I'm a bit of a spice wimp, but you could keep them in. So mix that in. Then we're gonna mix in our cilantro. So this is about 1/2 a bunch. And I know some of you out there are cilantro haters. So if you really want to, you could leave it out. Okay, and then we are gonna add some garlic. So for the garlic in a salsa, you can use a garlic press or a rasp like this, because you don't wanna have chunks of garlic. You want it to be completely blended in there. There we go, got it all. And it gets better as it sits in the fridge. Now I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt, some lime juice, and then I'll give it a taste. Sometimes, depending on the situation with the tomatoes, how ripe they are, you might need to add a little bit of sugar as well. So a teaspoon of salt. And we need about 1/4 cup of lime juice. So that's about the juice of 2 limes. I'm gonna use my fancy lime juicer that we all love. All right. Or at least I love it. I'm hoping you guys love it. There we go. We're gonna mix that together and let it set. And then we're gonna get started on the rest of the ingredients. Oh man, this smells like summer in a bowl. The tomatoes, onions, the garlic, the lime juice. This is just one of my favorites. You can just make this and have it with corn chips anytime. All right, now we gotta work on the tortillas. So if you're just making this for one person, you can just fry a couple tortillas in one pan, a couple eggs in another. But if you're trying to make this for a crowd, it's a good idea to pre-do your tortillas. You don't need to have one of these. You could have a little tiny casserole dish. Sometimes I put it on a plate with a bowl inverted, but anything that can kind of keep the tortillas warm and pliable while you're waiting for your eggs and everything to cook. Okay, so we're going to use soft corn tortillas for this. This is actually great because it's gluten-free, but you can use another type, like if you wanted to use like a whole wheat or wheat tortilla, you could, but traditionally it's done with these corn tortillas. And we're going to fry them in just a tiny bit of oil until they're soft and pliable, and the oil kind of helps them, keeps them from disintegrating on the plate. Then we'll put them in the tortilla warmer, and then we'll fry our eggs and we'll build this up. It's gonna be so, so good. You definitely do not need oil, but I definitely find that if you just kind of heat the tortillas up, they can, if you put a lot of sauce and stuff on them, they kind of disintegrate. So a little bit of oil helps with that. So let's see what's happening here. There we go, I hear that sizzle. So maybe like, I don't know, 10 to 30 seconds per side, depending on how hot your pan is. Flip it over. There we go. So you don't necessarily want to get them crispy, although you could do that. There's always a fine line. If you get them too crispy, then you can't cut them. If they're too soft, then they disintegrate. All these little things about cooking into the little tortilla warmer. So you don't need to put in oil every time, usually every second or third tortilla. The other thing you can do too, which I've seen done, is you can actually dip the tortillas in that red salsa and fry them. So for making eggs, we're just gonna make fried eggs. Obviously with huevos rancheros, you can make whatever type of egg you like. You can make poached, scrambled, fried, over easy sunny side. We're gonna do some sunny side because that just looks very pretty in the pan with that nice yolk. Put this over here for right now. Let's get our 2 plates out. Okay, we're gonna put a little bit more oil in this pan. This is very hot. Okay, we're gonna season that with a little bit of salt. I wouldn't put pepper on it because we're gonna have so much going on with the salsa and whatnot. Okay, while those are doing its thing, we're gonna start setting up the plate so that this is ready to go. I like to just do some refried beans on the side. Okay, we're gonna garnish that with a little bit of cheese and some cilantro. You can also put some avocado on the plate, which is what I'm gonna do as well. A nice little portion. I'm turning the heat down on these sunny side up eggs because it takes a while for the white to cook and you don't want it to totally burn. I'm gonna sprinkle just a bit of feta on here, a little bit of cilantro on there. Okay, and then we're gonna do our tortillas and our salsa. How are these eggs? They're getting close, okay. So I usually give everybody 2 tortillas, but not everybody wants 2 tortillas. Okay, so you start by putting the cooked salsa down on the bottom. The other thing you can do is put cheese on the bottom. I've also seen huevos recipes where they actually cook the eggs in this red salsa, kind of like a shashushka type of deal. I like to fry the eggs. Look at that, beautiful. Ooh, so pretty. Okay, look at how pretty that is. Okay, so now we're gonna put some fresh salsa on it. You don't wanna hide your egg, you wanna be able to see that. So you kind of just wanna put it on the side. Then we're gonna put a little cheese on top. Again, I always like to do feta because it kind of mimics the nice white cheese that you get in Mexico. One here. And the other thing that's nice about this is you can just put all this stuff on the table and let people decorate it how they want, You don't have to obviously plate it up. Then I want to put a little avocado on this plate and some lime wedges, and then we are ready to serve. I just love these beautiful yolks, and they're perfectly runny. I'm just gonna slice these avocados up and fan them out on the plate because I can't resist how pretty that looks. and a couple of lime wedges and maybe a bit more cilantro, and we are good to go. Oh, that's so pretty. Little cilantro. Oh man, look at that. There you have it. Breakfast for dinner, huevos rancheros. So delicious.
Pairings are brought to you by Liquor Plus. Discover the plus.
Another perk of having breakfast for dinner is that you can pair it with a refreshing beverage. Here to find the perfect pairing is Cheryl. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Really happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to see what you're gonna show us to have with this huevos.
I'm happy to try. So I brought a pale ale from Driftwood Brewery,
Okay, yum.
one of our favorite island breweries. I brought the pale ale to pair with this dish because I think it's just light, it's
Yeah.
refreshing. Pale ales also are a timeless classic.
Yeah, they really are.
They really
Yeah.
are. Let's give it a try.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, I can see that going with the summer vibe, Mexico. you
Oh,
know?
yeah, please, take me
Yeah,
there. Take me there, for
Me
sure.
too, bring me with you.
For sure. So I shouldn't have these big sleeves on today, but
Oh, it's okay.
there you are. Thank you. You're welcome. So we're gonna give that a try, and then maybe we'll have a bite of food. And
Yes,
cheers.
absolutely. Cheers, cheers. Oh yeah. It's really crisp. A little
Yeah.
bit almost fruity, kind of.
It is a little bit fruity, yeah. A little bit of hoppiness in
Yeah,
there. And
yeah.
you know, hoppy really pairs well with Mexican fare.
It does.
Yeah.
With a lot of spicy food, actually.
Yeah, absolutely,
All right.
yeah.
So there's 2 different salsas on here. There's like a cooked
Oh.
salsa and then a fresh salsa. So the cooked one's underneath.
Okay, I'm struggling.
Oh, so good.
I was
love
taught
this.
to switch hands, so I'm not gonna eat with my left hand.
Oh, you're smart. I'm a heathen over here, just showing my left hand. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You like
delicious.
it? I'm gonna try
Yep.
this with some beer.
Yep.
Yeah, it goes really well.
So you know what I find also with pale ale tends to have a little bit of sweetness in
Yeah.
there as well.
Yeah.
Which goes really well with the sweetness in a corn
Yeah,
tortilla.
I did notice that. And the fruitiness kind of goes well with the salsa. I could have made it spicier.
You
but
could have
I
made it
didn't.
spicier. Well, I always say the spicier, the better. And what better way to douse those flames than with a little sip
Yes,
of beer, right?
that's true. That is
So-
true. Well, thanks for this amazing pairing. This was good. You're right. This washes down perfectly.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. I'd love to have you back.
Awesome. I'll be back. Thanks, Heidi.
I'd love to see your take on this meal. Take a picture of these huevos rancheros and post it to social media. I'm Chef Heidi Fink. The more you learn, the better it tastes. So good, right?
So good.
I know. I'm just gonna eat like folds up like a big taco and just eat it.
I'm a fan of lime, so I'm going to do a
yeah.
little bit of that.
Lime on there?
Yep. Yeah. Oh my. Always so good. Sometimes I'll just have refried beans too.
Actually, yeah. You know what? Refried beans with like a little cheese on top. It's just really good.
Yeah.
Solid choice.
Delicious. So good.